whereas Infosys and many others outsourced
Yeah,
developers are feeling the pain. Right?
exactly. Yeah. I mean, all the large-scale outsourcing to countries like India and the Philippines, etc.,
And Eastern Europe.
and Eastern Europe. Yeah,
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
Latin America.
yeah, is going to be well, is now in danger because AI can do it. You haven't got the language problems. You haven't got the time differences.
Time difference. Yeah, so that's the intro is JP Morgan, you said.
They saved 280,000 man hours at the start of 2025 by using AI to review and modernise legacy code.
That's enormous.
Yeah,
It's just one company.
it's one company. It's phenomenal.
And the cost was like a few $1,000s.
Indeed.
Cheaper than a Gucci bag.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Okay. So everybody can imagine the ripple effect of this kind of cost saving and
Yeah. I mean, that is an example of what we touched on last time, the revolution, the industrial revolution that is approaching.
yeah. And you mentioned to me last time when we were not off camera that the things are so exciting that you postpone your retirement.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So completely. Yeah.
Maybe not completely, but yeah. I mean, the world we're living in, and the advances in technology, which includes the threats and the risks. I mean, it is an industrial revolution that very few people see in their lifetime.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's scary at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, when I watch movies, most recently this year, I always say that these stories are nothing compared to the reality.
No. 10, 20 years ago, people would laugh at the movies and say, what's shown there is never going to happen. Everything in the movies has been surpassed.
Yeah, in the last 2-5 years.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about generated code. And the latest Claude 4, I heard that there are built-in guardrails, so it won't do bad and naughty things for you as a vibe coder or AI engineer.
Yeah. Yes, so Anthropic pride themselves on saying that they are building safe AI and that it won't do anything that endangers a person's safety.
And even unethical things
including ethics, so it won't do anything unethical as well. I mean, cyber fraud is at a mammoth scale. And I've seen figures quoted that if you look at the top 5 economies in the world, their GDP, cybercrime is the equivalent of the 3rd largest economy. US and China first and second, cybercrime third, and that is frightening, scary.
Yeah. Just a thought about Claude 4 and even OpenAI Codex has built-in safety guardrails and so on. And I was thinking that is it plausible that these big companies who have the 90% of market share, they will be like a policing the world, the capitalism, by building in these guardrails in or how?
Funny enough, I had this conversation a couple of days ago with a peer of mine. And what we were discussing is the current democracy model either dead or dying? If you look at big tech, most of the big tech companies, their income is the equivalent to many national economies, and the power that they have over data, over our lives, is probably more than most governments have. So are we approaching a world where big tech governs the world and governments are irrelevant?
Could it be an example like there are politicians who have a personal brand on Facebook or on other platforms, on TikTok, so they depend on these platforms?
Yes.
Any kind of, I don't know, if leadership, product managers or board members at these companies just can switch off these politicians anytime.
Yes.
Any reasoning.
Yes. Well, we saw that after Trump's first administration.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Long time ago, but Twitter turned off his account because of what was happening around the 6th of January. They've now switched it back on, of course, but yes, big tech could turn off a politician's access to
The voter, yeah. And at the same time, can do with actors, business leaders, sports.
Oh yes, yeah,
Sports,
anybody. Anybody who potentially upsets big tech could have their access to deliver their message turned off.
Yeah.
Which, in the case of rogue politicians, rogue business leaders, potentially good, but equally a rogue tech company could turn off access to genuine politicians and business leaders to deliver their message.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that leads into another topic, the knowledge workers that we spoke about last time. You mentioned 18 months left for white collar.
Absolutely correct. But I can foresee a world where in professions, jobs that rely on information are regulated, so they're relying on a set of rules. AI is going to do that job far quicker than an accountant, a lawyer sitting in front of and delivering a decision or a set of accounts.
Yeah, so we are not meant to speak with computers as humans. AI is better handling the data streams and...
Yes, potentially. I mean, I can foresee a world where, accountancy, for example, will be a profession, or law will be a profession for very few people who will actually be QAing, quality assuring what AI is producing.
Yeah.
I mean, already, I think, if you look at every year, the big law firms, the big accountancy firms and the consulting firms recruit thousands of graduates into analyst roles. AI can already do that.
Yeah, I heard that as well. So it's not only the SMB accountant, it's also the big four.
All companies are looking to reduce cost, increase profit. So if you can develop your AI to do these relatively mundane tasks, why are you going to recruit a thousand graduates?
This reminded me to Anthropic. So a video on YouTube with one of the leading engineers, and he said that, you know what, with our systems, I've since January, I haven't touched any code. I'm just giving instructions in plain English and tell the plan what the agentic engineering system has to do, and then I come back later and see the results.
Yes.
And it does the tests. Things are running in the background, and all the internal, data streams are tested whether they are right, and the program code is running. And it has to be green. And this is being done automatically now, and the clever confirms. So, and that's similar to what you were saying about accountancy and law and everything. That will be similar process, right?
Yes.
So you come back when the job is done. As a human, you confirm, and you don't have to
that's right.
sit at the
That's
computer.
right. I've heard something this week as well about, beginning of the year, AI prompt engineers were becoming a profession, and they were being paid six-figure salaries.
Absolutely.
This year, the AI has developed so much that it's even interpreting poor prompts correctly. And yes, so that potential career has already been superseded by the advances in AI.
I've experienced myself that I created a system prompt that I told to the AI that you have to always ask clarifying questions. And when I ask something, something bad or badly written or too loose written stuff, it just asks me questions that it needs to be done. And then everything is clear. The context is there. Whether you do philosophy, literature, or programming, and you don't need to engineer the prompts anymore. Yeah.
So it comes back to what we discussed about Morgan Stanley and them reviewing 9 million lines of code. and modernising 9 million lines of code and saving 280,000 man-hours. Just reinforces what we've just been discussing and what's approaching.
Yeah, I know personally 2 or 3 people already creating 1 million line per month alone in their own houses, so it is possible.
Yes.
And you can even translate it into costs with a small tool.
That's right.
Displays that, hey, this work that you did in the weekend would have been 600K.
Yeah.
Which is a very weird feeling to watch on your display. You know, you had a feedback from someone, from a client of yours, that our conversations are really good to listen because it's not too technical.
Yeah, Michelle runs her own business, a coaching business, a client of mine, and she's watched our conversations and says that, it's providing her a great understanding how to use AI and what it's capable of.
Yeah, great. And then this morning I opened the Guardian, and the most skeptical nation are the English-speaking countries, because the most information about AI and the companies you get in English.
Yeah.
Maybe other countries are a little bit isolated from the stream of news. Of course, the Guardian is not an AI expert newspaper. That's clear. So they have their agenda.
Yes, indeed. Is it a lack of understanding or as I say, this approaching industrial revolution is actually taking place now and is going to automate thousands and thousands of jobs? It's probably, I don't think it's a lack of understanding, I think it's ignoring and disbelief.
Yeah, in a way it's understandable, but you have to look at the both sides, like there are staff shortages in radiology, for example, in healthcare.
Oh, absolutely,
AI,
yes.
You can save lives. AI recognizes, Lancer much better than a physician.
Yes.
And you see these articles on the same page. That AI save lives. Recognize this and that. And then the next article is AI is lethal.
Yeah.
Kills us all. So we would expect some consistency in this.
Well, journalism has been the same for centuries, hasn't it? It's going to sensationalise what they're writing about. So yes, there's going to be some factual articles, and the technology industry itself is being pretty good at publicising what is happening. The Western news agencies are not really picking up on this publicity.
It also depends on the personal interest of the.
And of course,
the
depends on the personal interest of the journalist and the person reading it. But I've spoken to a journalist about the use, AI in journalism. Really, they've chosen to ignore it, saying that you can't, an AI can't do the investigative journalism that a human can do. But of course it can.
Yeah, it is commonplace, but.
Yes.
The real impactful ideas always comes from a human, at least during my research, design or writing.
Yes, agreed.
You have to steer the AI, it's your...
Yes, AI is a computer program, it has to be steered. As I keep saying, AI has the capability to automate thousands and thousands of mundane tasks and jobs, and potentially reduce the number of human beings in a lot of professions and jobs.
Another topic we wanted to speak about are the threat actors using their own AI. So they might be, or they
already
finished.
They already are. We've seen AI automating fraud, cyber fraud. Everybody must have noticed since probably the pandemic how phishing emails, the quality of phishing emails is now linguistically perfect. They can regenerate, authentic companies' logos, and the URL will look perfect because they can hide certain characters that will send you to the malicious site.
Yeah, I was thinking that many organizations communicate via text messages, SMS, but sometimes 80% are fraudsters. Do you think it's better to stop communicating to your clients via text messages as HMRC or
I would, yes. So for a long time, I've always said to my clients with multi-factor authorization, don't use a text message because a text message can be intercepted. Use a authenticator app. And yes, SMS can be intercepted.
And the trust is gone.
Then once a breach happens, you've lost your trust. Depending on the purpose of the hack, you could actually lose your business.
Absolutely. And text messages cannot be identified, so you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe a Royal Mail is talking to you from a random number, but maybe not. So you can't.
Exactly.
It's impossible to check a real organization is.
Indeed. So. Yeah, I would say don't use text as a formal method of connecting with your customers. I would go to one of the end-to-end encrypted messaging services, and there's a plethora of them available. So WhatsApp, yes. So WhatsApp is one. Signal. There's lots and lots of messaging services that are end-to-end encrypted.
Yeah. Even GP and NHS sends you text messages, but it can be, you have a text message inbox on your iPhone or Android phone, and there are a lot of, fake text messages.
Yes.
Usually now, that's the world we live in, and it's not a good practice.
No. So yes, I would, but of course, even though a messaging service is end-to-end encrypted, if you want to make sure that your communication from your company to your customers, again, you've got to make sure that the login credentials, the username, the password, is appropriately protected, because it doesn't matter how good the encryption is, if the access credentials are weak or are shared across applications, etc., and you don't have multi-factor authentication or a passkey access, it's that messaging service can equally be compromised, because they can get, if you're using access credentials across apps, chances are they have already been compromised.
Yeah, it is an incredible big decision and big investments to get rid of text-based or SMS-based communication. As a big company or well-known brand or government organization, we would say that start thinking about it.
Yep.
Then, the landline phones, most of them, at least on my phone, are just fake, 0834 numbers.
Yes.
Ringing and I can't believe that it can't be stopped. It's not a priority for these providers to stop these.
No, there's been a number of attempts to stop these calls by the telecoms companies using AI, but I think the success is minimal.
Yeah, and it turns your phone useless, because 80% calls are faked and you don't pick up anymore.
Well, exactly, yes. I very rarely now pick up a call from an unknown number.
Just friends, family, and that's it. So that tool to communicate with people is gone by this. So they ruined their own platforms.
Indeed, indeed. But they're still very successful, so financially, because there's still a number of people will pick up. As with all scamming and hacking, what they're trying to do is create that sense of urgency that you need to act now to protect yourself. So, if you receive a call saying this is your bank's security team, and it happens to be the bank you're banking with, a lot of people will think, this is a genuine call, and then they realise too late.
Yeah, but some companies, mostly banks, they stopped communicating completely just through the app. So they have a proper, very safe iOS or Android app.
Yes, indeed. Or the fraud team will take action. They will freeze your cards, and then when you realise your cards aren't operating, you then get in touch with them.
Yeah, imagine the scale. I heard about a golf club owner in France that she has now AI layer filtering all the calls, because she's on her mobile, running around in the venue, and so many spam calls she was receiving that she needed to get this, switched on. And if it's a client call, somebody wants to play golf, then she's connected with the customer.
If that is working, I suggest she stops her golf business and
really
markets her AI model.
For the filtering ability.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can't. We really don't have the responses for long term. We don't know what will happen, but we try to mitigate.
The cybersecurity industry is already, predicting how the threat actors will be using AI in the future and developing models to be able to combat that. But it still really comes back to being human beings being aware of the threat. And protecting themselves, not believing, certainly me, I can share my passwords across apps. Nobody will notice, but they will notice. They will pick up. Oh, this password's been used here. Let's try it elsewhere.
Yeah, there was someone with a pet's name was used as a password, and they knew the pet from social media. This is a developer who had this problem.
I have a client who his password was taken in the 2016 LinkedIn breach. And he was setting a password, and he thought he didn't use a password manager, and he thought, I haven't used this password for a long time. So he reused his 2016 LinkedIn password. Of course, LinkedIn had a massive breach in 2016.
As many companies.
So his password was taken. Within hours of him reusing this password, where he was using it, his information was taken. Because hacking is automated. The scanning that was being done, there's that password again, and straight in.
So they are monitoring all the passwords?
Yeah, because as with everything on the internet, it's there permanently. So, and it's the same on the dark web. Password taken 9 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. It's permanently available on the dark web.
Yeah, there's a library of passwords. So that's why we keep, in every time we sit down here, we keep coming back to the same. Use different password every time.
Yes. Use password manager.
And then you are 99%.
Multi-factor authorization, and then you are 99% safe, because you've put enough hurdles in the way to stop somebody getting in.
Yeah,
if you look at a hurdles race, and if they put the fastest runner had to jump over three hurdles more than the slowest runner, well, the slowest runner would probably win the race. And this is exactly the same. You put in enough hurdles to make them jump through, and they will say, too difficult to get in here.
They've got enough victims left.
Yeah.
Because it's the same as when you walk around with an open bag in a tourist location. Of course, big buckets will come after you. But
exactly.
It's the same story. Regulations are behind 18 months, not 18 months, but a couple of months.
Yeah, as with all governance and regulation of technology, it's always behind the advances. And takes a long time to catch up. But yeah, we can discuss that more in detail next time.
And also it would be very interesting that what you know about the long-term, all these actors, how they develop their AIs, is it today just the beginning?
Oh, definitely, yeah. This is just the beginning of AI being used as a cyber threat. And
it's not just emails and phones?
No. They'll be developing to get
into systems, pretend to be an employee.
Yeah, yes. The hot topic at the moment is how users are being validated. Because we're working in dispersed workplaces, requiring remote access. Maybe your IT help desk is outsourced. People don't know who they're talking to, so how do they validate them? Is your voice still capable of being used to validate your identity?
Have you heard the latest Google voice generator?
Yes.
It's out of this world. And I tested a few languages, flawless. For the intelligence, the emotions.
Yes.
It's there.
Yes. And all that is going to be, that's Google. But the threat actors will be looking at that in our hack.
Yeah, it will be a real-time perfect actor like in a movie. They are you.
Yes. And as I say, following the M&S and co-op hacks, the hot topic is how do we validate users? Is getting somebody on a Zoom call enough to validate that the image being portrayed by the Zoom, or there are other video conferencing services, looks as though it matches the employee's photo, but is that image that is coming to you genuine?
Yeah, it's never 100%.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that is a hot topic.
Maybe back to the Middle Ages when you sent some servants to identify.
I don't know. The answer's not there yet. This week has been InfoSec, the information security exhibition at Excel, and I've had a number of conversations with identity management technology providers, and they are all struggling with, yes, we can protect the identity once it's in technology, but how do you actually validate that the person you are talking to is Bryan? And that is what they're struggling with. And when I phone up the help desk and say I need to reset my password, is it Bryan who's phoning up to reset that password?
Yeah.
Or has his image and voice been stolen and it's a threat actor phoning up to reset the password? And identity access management and privileged access management software can't protect you when the access credentials have been reset because you've let the threat actor in.
Yeah, it's complicated, and there are also these fake call centers sometimes that they pretend to be from well-known brand. And
Absolutely.
Or you're calling a fake restaurant.
Absolutely.
Or,
so we've got the dating scam industry, where unfortunate people believe they're being courted by a person with high integrity and honesty, whereas in fact it is probably a call centre in Myanmar or some such location in the world.
Like the hotspots of these.
Yeah. And it's the people in these call centres may have been people trafficked, may have been and they're just trying to survive. But that's what they have to do to survive.
It's an incredibly complex problem.
The US has this week placed sanctions on a company whose name escapes me at the moment, because it's been proven that they're providing the technology to enable dating scam or pig butchering, as it is unfortunately called. They were providing the technology to the call centres based in the third world. They've had sanctions. It's a Philippines company. They've had sanctions put on them by the US government.
I worked at two US gig work company during COVID and a little bit after, and they behaved very strangely. But even if you are working with Western companies, it can happen that they are not 100% what they seem. After a few months, they behaved suspiciously. You couldn't get hold of them. There were some payment delays, and
right.
They were not 100% fraudsters. But they were just I have no idea what game they were playing. Maybe before seed investment, they wanted to inflate the company's valuation before exit. And, there are these games.
Yeah.
And if you are not from this scene, you are a designer or developer at the mid of your career, so you don't have to know everything, how the world economy works. But you have to be very careful with remote companies and sign up for this platform, right? Have you seen these kind of things?
Well, I've seen the reverse, where companies, as we discussed earlier, we now have remote workforces, and what has been quite big this year has been where threat actors have posed as genuine employees, which comes back to what I was saying about validating employees' identity. And they've applied for real jobs. They've been set up in the company as a real employee. The company has shipped the technology to them, the PC to them.
Yeah.
And so they're set up as a genuine employee. They have the company's technology platform, and they get in as the genuine employee, and then they're stealing intellectual property, etc., etc.
It's from both sides, both directions. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's speak next time.
Yes, we'll speak next time.
And we've got exciting topics for the next episode.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.